Hello, everybody. It's December 9th, 2025, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific. We're coming live to take your questions for general educational purposes only about U.S. immigration law. With immigration lawyer John Khosravi, founding attorney of the JQK Immigration Law Firm, helping married couples, families, fiancés, parents, green card holders, citizens, for example, investors and small businesses in the United States, and those filing for citizenship, and people with extraordinary ability, EB-1A, get green cards and citizenship in the United States. We come here live every Tuesday to take your questions on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn about the process, to the extent that we can. Try to get some general kind of information that you know what's going on, because things are moving fast, just like the last Trump administration. Every day there's something new. It's very stressful, frankly, for people going through the process. Hopefully, this conversation will alleviate some of this, may add to some of it. There's a lot of unknowns. But again, we're doing our best. We come here 5 years now. God willing, we'll do another 5 years and to take your questions live here. So please feel free to shoot out what's on your mind, just question-wise about what's going on with U.S. immigration law, and God willing, we'll have the answers to help, take you to the next level on there. If you want to schedule a private consultation, go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. Fill in your information there. We have a guide called the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. If you go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com, you can download that for free, 70-plus pages on the process, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. If you're interested in naturalization, the citizenship process, go to jqqlaw.com/citizenship and check that out. Again, that's jqqlaw.com/citizenship. That's where you can learn about the 50-plus page guide on U.S. citizenship and things you need to know to help take that to the next level. Having said that, let's go to our first question. Golpari asks, hi, hope you're well. Thank you, same here. I was born in Iran and have Swedish citizenship. Would the new policy affect me as well, since I want to apply for N400? The new policy just says persons from Iran. They don't specify as nationals or if there's dual citizenship. For example, the travel ban that exists against Iran right now has a exception where if you have a secondary passport, like your Swedish passport, that wouldn't apply for you if you file for a green card. But the initial guidance on this pause right now is not specific as to whether it applies for dual citizens like yourself who has Swedish citizenship. So I don't know. We'd have to analyze your case and potentially just file it just to file it. First, looking into your background, how you got the green card in the first place, make sure that was good. And maybe just put your place in line so it gets going. The fear is just you have issues that cause deportation removal or something like that. But it may. But again, based on the reading of this just 2-3 days ago, I think last week they published, it just says people on the list. Now, does the exceptions to the list apply for here as well? I don't know. Hopefully it is the case. But in this administration, they're being kind of vague and making things up as they go along. So we got to see what's happening. Thank you for your question, Doug. Quince Canelo says, do Canadians now need an I-94 if staying in America longer than 30 days? No, they don't need to do an I-94, but they do need to register their stay if they didn't fly into the United States. So, for example, if they drove into the United States, they need to register the address. Actually, even if it's I-94 online, I think you have to too. I haven't thought about it in a long time, but Canadians now, if they're going to be more in the United States in 30 days, they need to update their address where they are with USCIS. I'm going to make a note of this because I forgot about a client or two. I need to do that. Update Canadian address. So thank you for the question, Canela. I appreciate that. And then we have another question. Ayla asks, hey, I applied for my naturalization a few months ago. My USCIS account says 4 or 5 months to make a decision, but I have heard that the process stopped. Are they still processing these cases? So first and foremost, these timelines they have listed on the government websites are not reliable. So whatever number it says there, you can't rely on it at all. Now, they have paused certain applications. If you're a national of one of the countries on the travel ban list, Iran, Cuba, Venezuela, Yemen, these kind of countries, they are pausing your case. Or if you've even had an oath ceremony scheduled, they'll deschedule the oath ceremony. But if you're not from those countries, the process is as normal. So there's no, I don't know what country you're from, Eileen, so I can't per se say. But right now, there's no ban or pause on your kind of case. Now, it's always different and stuff like that. Sorry, I got to update some. But again, I don't know what country you're from, so I can't say for sure if it applies to you. But that's something that does exist for certain nationals. Sorry, I'm trying to check some website, and all of a sudden it says I got to update it, which means I got to restart everything. So, sorry, as you know, with technology, you never get what you expect when you need it. But that's cool that we have this software, though. We could talk with everybody, so I can't be ungrateful about it like that. Let me pull back our Instagram app so we can answer people's questions on Instagram. Feel free to shout out your questions on other websites too. Mo asks, hi, my wife came to the U.S. in March through IR1 visa. We got a 10-year permanent residency green card. The question goes, we are planning a 2-week trip abroad. Given the new USCIS rule for Iranians, this trip might be risky for reentry. You're welcome, Eileen. Will it be risky? Technically, there's no law that says it'll be risky. If you have a green card, you have a green card, as long as it's properly obtained and stuff like that. But if you want to be safe, don't go. I mean, I would never expect that they did what they did. So you never know with these people. But technically, there's no law that says you can't travel in your circumstances unless you obtain the green card incorrectly or some issue there. But it depends on how safe and conservative you want to be. Crazy says, any updates on which countries in the updated expand travel ban you think Pakistan is going to be on it? So there's a list of 19 countries travel ban. There's word they'll be adding countries, but these are all rumors, so I don't want to substantiate rumors because I have no idea. I can't answer that question. Joanne says, a child in an F2A category has moved to the United States and is attending school. The child may be eligible to file I-485 according to the visa bulletin. Would attending school be a problem? Maybe if it's a violation of status. For example, if they came on an F1 student visa, it's not a problem. But if they came here on a tourist visa, historically they let it slide, but it could be problematic because you're not supposed to come here and study without a student visa. If they came with parents pursuant to some other category, they may allow it. I need to know more about the child, what kind of school they're attending, what visa category they had, how old they are, what they said in the tourist visa application before they came, if it's something inconsistent that we consider fraud. So it is deep levels of stuff we have to analyze, but it's troublesome. They shouldn't be going to school here if they don't have a student visa for the most part. Raya asks, I'm a Canadian citizen born in Iran. I entered the U.S. on an L1 visa from 2023 and ended up out of status for about a year. After marrying my U.S. citizen, I applied for adjustment of status in June 2024. I still haven't received the updates. Nothing shows my account. Does anyone know if I'll be affected by the new regulation? So, are you Iranian background? Do you have an Iranian passport? It may happen. We just don't know exactly how they're going to be considering Iranian persons. If it's like your place of birth will be, if they going to look into your background more in a certain sense. So, Raya, we don't really have exact information how it's going to play out because they've kept it very vague. So we might have to wait. Now, if you have a case pending, have it pending. You're out of status, so you just generally run the risk of being detained regardless of all that stuff. So it's a little bit of a dicey situation. Mo says, thank you, you're welcome. I said, I still haven't heard anything. I only did my biometrics, even my eye to find out approved yet, no criminal history. I don't have any guidance on that right now. We're trying to see how they're actually going to enforce this new regulation. SSS says, hi, are there any updates on the upcoming fix of duration of status rule for F1 student visas and when it's expected to take effect? No updates. I mean, they're taking comments. I think the comment period ended about a month and a half ago. We're just waiting on the government. We don't know. Joanna says, they enter on a B2 visa attending middle school. So, Joanna, it could be problematic if they're violating status. A B2 visa is not a student visa. Now, if they're here for their parents for 3 months, a temporary was one thing, but it could be problematic. They could be violating status, which could prevent them from being able to adjust status in that situation. Can the parent become an immediate citizen so that they'll be considered a child of a citizen? That would help solve things. Mohammed says, is USCIS still scheduling N400 interviews in San Fernando Valley area? It's been 4 months since filing. Yes, they are. 4 months is, in grand scheme of things, nothing for immigration timelines. Now, if you're, part of a country of a travel ban, they may not schedule it. They may schedule it, then not do the oath ceremony. We don't know exactly how that's going to play out. But if you're just another person, it's 4 months, and just wait a little bit. Right, I'm definitely going to hear back in the next 100 days. They mentioned, thank you. Am I definitely going to hear back in the next 180 days? No, we have no idea whether it's going to. There's no 180 days. I don't know what they mentioned to you, but there's nothing like that. You just got to wait. All right, TikTok. Please like if you're watching on here and share the feed so that people know they can ask their questions. We're going to go through a lot of people joining us right now. User 2576 says, how long will it take to get an interview letter in London? So what kind of interview are you talking about? If you're doing a green card case, London schedules interviews soon after the case being documentary qualified if the case is current. So unless you have a unique circumstances, they're pretty quick with it. But it really depends on what kind of case you have. Is it an E visa? Is it an L visa? Is it a marriage case? Is it brother or sister of a citizen case that could have current delays with the visa bulletin? So we need more information to even begin to answer your question. And whatever I say could be different on a case-by-case basis. Emra Fan says, and ask a fun question again. So he has 6 people are peeking in. What country and what location are you? What city are you right now? I'll give you a fun fact about that city in the next 1 minute, whoever posts it. Mohammed says, I'm not from any of those countries. Then just wait, Mohammed. SJ says, a person from 19 countries applied for removal conditions. Would they still get their automatic 2-year extension? Yeah, it's more than 2 years. I think it's like 4-year extension or something. But they'll get the extension. They should. I mean, there's no reason not to. They haven't said anything about it. Cure Construction says, what happens if an American marries a migrant that's undocumented? Well, I mean, nothing per se happens unless the government wants to get more strict about, harboring rules, harboring someone who's undocumented. But you got to try to fix the status, which would be very, 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 very difficult right now. Gabi says, hi, are pending EADs paused too for 19 countries? Probably. I think in the memo they issued, it was like I-131 forms, travel documents, I-485 adjustment of status, citizenship, asylum. But I'll assume that any applications for them are stalled, unfortunately. Let me see. Okay, next question. Aaliyah says, I live in Jamaica and my U.S. citizen parent filed for me. How long will the embassy process take? Well, is the I-130 approved? What is your priority date? Are you married or are you single? There's a lot of things. What country were you born in? And then it depends on the embassy. Sometimes they're backed up. So I need a lot more information. Please schedule a private consultation, jqklaw.com/contact. You're welcome, Cure Construction. SJ follows up. So would get their 2-year extension of green card, but their case would stay on pause. Do you think it will be relieved and continue again? So I said it's more than 2 years. But yeah, you get a receipt. But do I think it'll be relieved and continue again? I don't. I'm not in charge of that, so there's no way I can answer that question. Ola says, I got an ADIS stamp last month on my passport. My I-75 one's pending for 26 months. Hope it's safe for travel. 3 weeks Nigeria this month. Come back. Sometimes the airlines don't understand it. Typically, it's safe, but you never know with the airlines. If you got it, ideally don't travel. But normally it's okay. Now you mentioned too, it is a separate person. They got a 26 after 26 months. The EAD, the work permit is so the green card extension you file for Form I-751 is 48 months. So it's 4 years. I'm not sure why you guys think it's 2 years. So that's I'd make sure you check your paperwork, see what's on there. Why that would say that. Cure Construction says, how long will it take for a green card if an American marries a migrant? So Cure Construction, there's a lot more to that question. This question is deceptively simple, but it's a half an hour conversation. First of all, download our Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. If they're undocumented and they came without permission, you got to get a waiver for them. Right now, they're detaining people who even try to go for a waiver, so you got to be careful for that. Before that, you say, during Biden or Obama's time, it could take 7 years to get that done. If you get the waiver approved, depending on what country, the embassy they're from. So it's a really complicated question to answer. And so that's something you 100% should consult an immigration private on. Onika's husband is on a UK graduate visa. Do we have to go back to his home country? Filed an I-130. Husband is on UK graduate visa. I'm not sure what a UK graduate visa is. You have to go back to his home country. File on with. I'm not sure, Onika, what your fact is. I mean, are they living in the United States on a work visa? I mean, a student visa? What is your status? There's too much missing information there to be able to answer that. You're welcome, Cure Construction. I wish you the best. Congrats on your plans to get married. Koku says, green card holder from banned country can travel. They haven't said they can't travel. I'd avoid it if unless you have to travel. 2 week. I'm from one of the 19 banned countries. My green card expires in 2 months. Will they give me a hard time? Depends on your background. We got to see what your background was, what you said in previous applications. Just make sure you timely renew your case so you get an extension. But it really depends on your individual background. And it just happened. So we don't know anything about how they're going to do it. So a lot of these questions, I know people are nervous, but it's impossible to answer questions. It's like, judging seeing what's going to happen in the future, who's going to win the game tomorrow in some basketball game. There's no way I can know that. Gabby says, hi, are pending EADs paused for 19 countries? Let me take a look at the pause. I don't think they reference USCIS, 19 countries, pause. The things they reference in the updated policy memo on this, USCIS ban, if you will, for immigration benefits, they say benefits in general. So EAD is a benefit, so we can assume that's it. The forms they specifically mention in the footnotes, footnote 4 says, including Form I-485 adjustment of status, Form I-90 renewal of 10-year green card, Form M-470 preserve naturalization, I-751 rule conditions, from I-131. They don't reference EADs and they don't reference I-539 change of status. So those may or may not happen. Such a mess. I have a lot of clients affected by this, and it just causes a lot of stress because, what do you tell people? We don't know, and they're putting people in a very difficult situation. Jack says, I filed VAWA March 2024. Didn't receive a receipt number yet. 18 months already. Yeah, they could take a bit. 8 months is pretty long than usual, but VAWA, U visas, they take a long time to give you paperwork on it. Tubi continues, I live in New York City. New York City is known as the Big Apple. So corny, but there we go. Mean says, I'm a Canadian citizen, but born in Somalia and have a pending adjustment status. Will this mail potentially? Alias, I live in Jamaica. My U.S. citizen parent. Are you married or single? When is your priority date? Too much information. So we added more information. Sana says, had a SAM interview 2021, no decision till now. What can I do? Check your alien number. And make sure you update your address with USCIS to see if like they should have been a decision by now. So you may have got a notice denied, a notice to appear in immigration court that you missed. It doesn't make sense for that to be pending that long. I mean, it says, hi, I'm a Canadian citizen, but we're answering your question. Thank you for liking. Thank everyone for pressing like on TikTok. You're welcome, Gabby. We're getting a lot of repeat questions. Please don't do that. I'm getting to every single person's question. Brian Matt says, I missed a yearly check-in and been out with habeas corpus after final order removal. Any advice? That's too complicated. Please, talk with your attorney who did the habeas case. Hut says, do you handle matter of Kelantan waiver through adjustment status case? Honestly, I never accept those cases. It's too risky to do that, in my opinion. But people do get approved on those. Matter of Kelantan says you entered the U.S. lawfully because the border officer just waved you in and said it's okay, even though you didn't have the paperwork to do it. But you need evidence. So if you go to your interview and the officer doesn't buy it, they just deny your case. Now you can be sent to immigration court for deportation unless you have DACA or TPS. And even then, some of these horrible ICE officers will pick you up with you have status, they'll still take you to detainment. It's happened a couple of cases. It's a horrible thing to do when people have status essentially. But unless you have good documentation of lawful entry in some form or fashion, I'm hesitant to take that. But some lawyers file it all the time. My protest says my wife got an RFE for the I-130 spouse petition, although she uploaded the same documents as my brother, and my brother's case got approved without RFE. That's the inconsistency of USCIS. You never know what you're going to get, so you got to prep and be strong. And when you say, the same documents, they're not the same person. They have different documents. So we got to see exactly what was submitted, analyze it, and take it from there. Onika, we answered your question. I needed more details. And Michelangelo, how long does adjustment of status is being processed for parent? Most of our cases are done in 3 or 4 months. We have one case pending like almost 12 months now. So I don't know why that is, but that happens. Ahmad, hello. Gold says, do you think this administration is going to lift the ban on 19 countries sooner? Do you think the stock market is going to go up or down tomorrow? If you can answer that question, I can answer yours. Anika says he lives in the UK. So if he lives in the UK and I-130 is pending and he's the beneficiary, I don't know the details. Just finish up the process. The Chosen says, would naturalized citizen lose their citizenship easily, not for the tragedy in D.C.? Not easily. To take away citizenship, you got to go through a court process, so it's not going to be easy. Thomas says, how's the chance to be deported if a case is pending BIA? I don't handle BIA appeals, so I don't want to comment on a case type I don't handle. Hope What says, my wife has an interview tomorrow with USCIS or merit-based green card. Any advice? Is your wife in status or out of status? Does she have lawful entry? What kind of evidence of relationship do you have? Are you prepared? Download our guide, the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. We have practice questions about your relationship. You go there. Are you living together? Are you living separately? There's a lot of any advice. It's like either I give you all the advice or none. That's too much. D-Dot says, I got my I-130 approved and filed I-6-1 waiver. They came for site visit before 3 weeks. He wasn't home. What's the next step? If they did a site visit, you weren't home, they're going to try to do it again and send you a note. So it's complicated. We got to see what's going on there. You should have a lawyer for sure at this point because they do a site visit and not trust your relationship. Yala says, I read that even dual citizens, Iran and Canadian, are affected by a new pause policy if they apply for EB1 from outside the U.S. What if they apply through the consulate? So the consulate itself will be okay because if the travel ban doesn't apply for dual citizens, the issue is with the I-140, the EB1 petition being approved, which may be paused depending on how they interpret dual citizens, and we don't have guidance on how that's going to be interpreted. The memo that came out says they're effectively placing on hold benefit requests for aliens from countries listed in the presidential proclamation. So does that mean people that are born there or people whose parents are from there, they may have a passport, they could get a passport, they don't, or does it mean dual citizens, not dual citizens? These things aren't exact. So I might need to read this in more detail. Maybe I'm being wrong here, but they're not specific enough. So unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with right now. Morad says, hi, how is diversity visa with no conviction, warrant, custody affects I-751 waiver? How is domestic violence? Police report already submitted USCIS in case closed by police department. I mean, it can be problematic. I mean, if they want to get into it, they can. Yala says EB1 or NIW. EB1 and NIW, they both require the same form from I-140 for USCIS to adjudicate it. And the memo doesn't specify if I-140 petitions are going to be stopped. It does specify that I-485s, I-751s are. So our benefit petitions, I-130 and I-140s being affected, we don't know. They just say including. So they say place a hold on pending benefits request. So that is a benefits request for EB1 or NIW, EB2A. When you type in USCIS, what is a benefits request? So that's the thing. They're not very specific and all-consuming it is. But generally, when you go to USCIS policy manual, chapter 1, it specifies right there, waiting for it to load. You can read the exact language that they're going for. They consider a benefits request to be those seeking immigrant benefits. So must generally benefits. Proper submissions of benefit requests. Essentially, a benefit request is benefits sought. I-129, I-140. It's everything. If you request USCIS to do something, that's a benefits request. So we don't really know how this all play out. Morales says, "Sir, can you explain my question? You said no problematic. You could be problematic." Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know what accusations were made in the domestic violence charge. I'm not sure. I have to read the court record to show it's closed, that there was that the prosecutor says charges weren't filed, the case was closed. I need to read the police report to see what accusations were there. There's probably previous stuff. Also need to see joint documents to show your relationship. Are you still with your spouse or not? Potentially, they may have called USCIS to give you hassle and say bad stuff to them. They may have some sort of proof that's off the record, on the record. They add there. It's not like a yes or no question. It's in there. You got to get into it to see what's going on. Zada says, how long will it take for citizenship? It varies. Based on your name, you might be on the child bound list, but if you're not, most places 2, 4, 5 months is done. But some places it could be a year. It really varies depending on your field office, your background, and the officer that gets your case, how fast they're going to be. Amir says, hey, after my interview based for marriage green card, now it's 100 days have passed, no answer. What should we do? Try writing a letter to the office asking them, hey, what's going on? Now, if you're from one of the trial ban countries, be careful. Maybe you want to do nothing. Mama B says, thank you for your help. How long does green card marriage? It depends. I have a detailed video of this actually on YouTube. It's on TikTok too. Just go to my page on 2026 marriage thoughts and timelines. It's like a 7-minute video. Please watch that. It'll give you an idea. And it's on YouTube too, and on Instagram, wherever you're watching this, you can catch that. Zada says, can you speak Persian? I can. I'm not going to speak Persian here. It's an English show. Please schedule a consultation, jqqlaw.com/citizenship. But if you are Iranian, there's going to be delays in your case because they put those cases on pause. Oktil says, my husband lives outside and I live in the U.S. We've been under administrative processing for, yeah, you're stuck essentially. 2 years. Is still affect the ban? Potentially. Mom, may I answer your question? Hi, thank you for your help. In the 48 months, green card marriage can apply for naturalization. If you've been married living with a U.S. citizen, you're not from a trial ban country, you have a clean history, you can file for citizenship 90 days before the 3-year mark, or if you haven't been living with a U.S. citizen 3 months, 90 days before the 5-year mark. Download our guide, jqqlaw.com/citizenship, jqqlaw.citizenship. It's the ultimate naturalization citizenship guide, 50+ pages. It can help you out, give you a better understanding of what's going on. And thank you for the gift badge as well. So we got a lot of questions, rapid speed going on. And, I talk fast. I want to answer everyone's questions. So we got to make the most of this half an hour. But if you want an individual consultation, go to our website, jqqlaw.com/citizenship. /contact. And then fill your information there so you have a private time. It is paid consultations. We'll take it from there. You're welcome, Morad. You're welcome, Yalda. Irish Mania, LA. Thanks for joining on Instagram. And everyone else on TikTok. If you haven't already, press like on TikTok so we get this word out. Share the feed so more people know and they could come and ask questions about U.S. immigration law. We only have a couple of minutes left on the show, but there's a lot going on. The immigration system is buckling, and the administration is really attacking the immigration system as a whole. They don't believe it should be the way it is. They want to cut down everything. They want to hurt people who have immigration benefits already or in process. So you got to go and be ready to fight and know what's going on and be prepared. It's not a shoe-in thing that you say, oh, I should do it myself, frankly. There's so many little things that can be problematic. I had a consultation earlier today, and I said, you have a generally good case. A lot of my job is to prevent you from just hurting yourself, shooting yourself in your foot, which is a lot of times when people file a case on their own, the issue isn't the case. They say stuff that's like not correct. They don't send the right documents. They send too much documents that confuses the officer, or they just mark the wrong box, not paying attention to it. Those are the kind of issues that people get, and they're like, this was easy. It was, but you messed up because you didn't pay attention. And most people don't pay attention. It's a lot of paperwork, and people aren't used to doing this kind of paperwork. So that's where problems come a lot of time. Marlon says, how long an I-130 takes overseas case file 2023? I don't know what kind of I-130 you're sent. Is it spouse of U.S. citizen, spouse of green card holder, parent, child? what country you're from. All this kind of stuff has an effect in your trial ban country. We have a detailed guide about the marriage fraud version of it on YouTube. It's one of our recent videos. It's on Instagram, TikTok too. Check that out, and I'll go over it with you. But we always need a lot more information to answer that question, and it always varies because it's a case-by-case thing. Asha says, USCIS asked me to provide 2 affidavit letters. Do they have to be present at our wedding? No, I'm surprised they asked 2 affidavit letters. They're usually not that specific, but just people are usually, if it's a marriage case, that are aware of your relationship. But if they specifically ask you for something, review the request for evidence, and it'll tell you in detail what they need and they don't need. You have to prepare that properly. I would just go by their letter because maybe they'll ask for that. Who knows? Some people don't have other people at their weddings. That's normal too. So it's typically not asked that they have to be at your wedding, but they don't typically ask for affidavits. So that's a weird thing that asks. You really should have an attorney in your case because it's an atypical thing. Tic Tac says, sir, how about withholding grant to my friend? Have an appointment this week. We don't handle withholding cases, so I don't want to give conversation about that. Gold Party says, is it best to wait to apply for M400 now? Did they specify in the memo how long it's will be on pause? They haven't specified how long it's will be on pause. Is it a good idea to wait or not? It depends on your background. If you have a clean background, I'd probably say file it just so it's in the system. You're placed in line. But I'd want to review your background fully first and make sure I'm not opening up a hornet's nest because you have some sort of issue. Greg says, for those on a 2-year marriage-based green card, married to a U.S. citizen, will there be an interview, and how strict involves that process? Interview now for more questions. You may have an interview. It's up to the government. How strict is it? It depends on your background, your documents, how well it's designed, and if they do have an interview, it's how well you go there. So you just have to do a solid case. If you're asking these kind of questions, I definitely recommend hiring us or at least schedule a consultation in our office because, better safe than sorry, frankly. But jqqlaw.com/citizenship is the place to go. But you got to prepare for the worst. So have all the evidence needed. If there's an interview in May schedule, be prepared to answer questions needed. Go over your background for your original green card. Make sure that was done properly because issues there could come back now. Go over what you've done since then. There's a lot going on in that process. Gold Party says, are they going to eliminate people with dual citizenship? I don't know what you mean, eliminate people. They're not going to kill anybody. There's a bill by some senator to get rid of dual citizenship. I don't think it's going to happen, but that may be what you mean. Abu Sabr says, do you think for FMLA will affect you when applying for your 10-year rule of conditions? I'm not sure what FMLA is. That paid family leave or something like that? I'm not sure what that would be for that to affect something. You don't use the acronym. Amel says, can we travel with 10-year green card to Europe? I'm from Afghanistan with a clean background. I can't advise individually if someone could do it or not something because I don't know anything about your background. So not knowing that, I can't say yes. Most people are going to be okay. Vast majority. Whether you can, I just don't know anything about you to be able to answer that. Any updates on VAWA? No, I don't have any updates to VAWA other than they're going to be more strict on it, and they might have interviews and question you about stuff to make sure it was legit. Rue says, approve I-485 straight away after a few questions in the interview yesterday. Congratulations, Rue. Tiasha, and thank you, Carlene Cameo, for the gift. And please, everyone else, like it as much as possible. Share the feed. Tisha says, after a sound case being denied for trauma and abuse, how in debt does it have to be? I don't know what that question means. Danny says, how long do you usually wait for an oath ceremony? It depends on the field office. It could be a week. It could be months. It depends on when they have time to do it and when they get done with your background checks. So we'll take 1 or 2 more questions. We'll call it a day. I'm Immigration Lawyer John Khosravi. If you want to have a private consultations, fees do apply. But go to our website contact page, jqqlaw.com/contact. Fill in the information there, and we'll jump into it. We just got 100 likes. Thanks so much. Like. See if we get to 5,000 in the next minute or so before the show ends. Went to 4,400. Going once. Going twice. 4,400. Are we going to get to 4,500? Triple or 3? We're done. Okay, so no 100 likes in 2 seconds. All right, everybody. God bless. Be safe. I'll be back next week, Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific to take your questions live here. But again, if you want to have a private consultation, go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact, and do it there. Harbinger says, once the BA overturns your marriage fraud finding, what's next? You got to try to reopen your case and see what's going on. I get sent back to court, and you got to argue it again. So I'm glad you were able to overturn a marriage fraud finding. That's incredible. Good job with your lawyer. They'll be able to answer that, but good job in getting that approved. It's a hard one. God bless. Be safe. It hit 4,500. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.